There is a signal that precedes every manifestation, a moment so subtle, so fleeting, that most people miss it entirely. Genevieve Behrend, the only woman ever personally trained by Thomas Troward, discovered this signal in 1912, and it changed everything she touched. Within months of learning it, she manifested the exact sum of $20,000, traveled across the ocean, and became one of the most powerful manifestors of the 20th century. But here's what they don't tell you. The signal isn't what you think it is. It's not a feeling. It's not a vision. It's something far more ancient, far more powerful, and it happens in the space between your desire and its arrival. Stay with me, because in the next minutes I'm going to reveal the exact mechanism Behrend used, the signal she learned to recognize, and how you can attune yourself to it starting today. Welcome. If you're here, it's not by accident. You've been called to this knowledge, just as Genevieve Behrend was called to hers over a century ago. My name is on this channel, and we explore the hidden mechanisms of manifestation, the forgotten teachings of the metaphysical masters, and the mystical principles that govern reality itself. Before we dive deeper into this ancient secret, I want to ask you something. If this resonates with you, if you feel that pull toward higher knowledge, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel is for seekers, for those who refuse to settle for surface-level understanding, for those who know there's something more. Ring the bell, because what we discuss here isn't just information, it's transformation, and you'll want to be notified every time we unlock another piece of the cosmic puzzle. Now let's begin. Context. The mysterious signal. Who was Genevieve Behrend? Genevieve Behrend wasn't born into mystical knowledge. She was a woman of her time, living in New York City in the early 1900s, working as a teacher, navigating the constraints society placed on women. But something stirred within her, a hunger for truth that couldn't be satisfied by conventional living. She had read a book that changed her trajectory entirely. The Edinburgh Lectures on Mental Science by Thomas Troward, a British judge who had turned philosopher and metaphysician. Troward's teachings struck her like lightning. They spoke of a creative principle, an invisible law governing the universe, a power within the human mind to shape reality itself. But reading wasn't enough for Genevieve. She needed to learn directly from the master. There was one problem. Troward lived in Cornwall, England, and she was in New York with no money for passage, no connections, no clear path. Yet she made a decision that would define her entire life. She decided she would study with Troward regardless of circumstances. She didn't know how it would happen. She simply knew it would. And this is where the signal first appeared in her life, though she didn't yet understand it. The $20,000 manifestation. Genevieve needed $20,000. Not $19,000, not approximately that amount, but exactly $20,000 to travel to England, to live there while studying with Troward, and to dedicate herself completely to this training. In 1912, $20,000 was an astronomical sum, equivalent to over $500,000 today. She had no inheritance coming, no wealthy relatives, no obvious source. But she had something else: absolute certainty. Every morning she would enter a state of deep visualization, not the casual daydreaming most people call visualization, but a precise, feeling-saturated mental rehearsal. She saw herself on the ship crossing the Atlantic. She felt the salt air on her face. She heard the sound of English voices welcoming her. She experienced the joy of sitting across from Thomas Troward, learning the secrets of the creative process. But more than any of this, she cultivated a feeling, a quality of consciousness that preceded the manifestation. And then, the signal appeared. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a vision or a voice from heaven. It was something far more subtle, a complete release, a moment where she stopped striving, stopped worrying, stopped checking for results. It was as if her entire being exhaled, and in that exhalation, she knew it was done. Not that it would be done, but that it already was done in the invisible realm, and physical reality would simply catch up. 3 weeks later, the money came. Not gradually, not in small amounts, but all at once through a series of events so perfectly orchestrated they seemed miraculous. Yet Behrend knew they weren't miracles at all. They were the natural result of aligning with the creative principle, the nature of the signal. So, what is this signal? What was the mechanism that Behrend tapped into? To understand it, we must first understand what Troward taught her about the nature of reality. According to Troward's mental science, there are two modes of the creative principle, the universal mind and the individual mind. The universal mind is the infinite intelligence, the cosmic consciousness, the ground of all being. It knows no limitation, no impossibility, no lack. The individual mind is you, me, every conscious being, a focal point of this universal intelligence. The signal is the moment when these two minds align perfectly. It's the point of resonance, the instant when your individual consciousness matches the frequency of the universal consciousness regarding your desire. Most people never reach this point. They want something, they think about it, they may even visualize it, but there's always a gap, a discord, a subtle vibration of doubt, fear, or unworthiness that keeps them out of alignment. The signal is the disappearance of that gap. Behrend described it as the click. Imagine turning a combination lock. You can be close, you can feel like you're almost there, but until that final number clicks into place, the lock remains closed. The signal is that click. It's the moment when resistance dissolves, when effort ceases, when you stop trying to make it happen because you know it already has happened on the causal plane. This isn't blind faith. It isn't positive thinking. It's a shift in your fundamental state of being. You move from wanting to having, from seeking to finding, from becoming to being. The mystical mechanics. Let's go deeper into the mystical mechanics of this process. Because Behrend's teaching wasn't vague or abstract, she laid out a precise science. Everything in the universe operates on vibration. This isn't metaphor, it's physics. Matter itself is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your thoughts are vibrations. Your emotions are vibrations. Your desires are vibrations. When you desire something, you're essentially broadcasting a frequency into the field of infinite potential. But here's where most people go wrong. They broadcast the frequency of lack. When you want money, you're often vibrating at the frequency of, I don't have money. When you want love, you're vibrating at, I am alone. When you want success, you're vibrating at, I am not enough. The universe, being pure consciousness without judgment, simply responds to your dominant vibration. It doesn't argue with you. It doesn't say, but you really want the opposite. It gives you more of what you're being, not what you're wanting. The signal appears when you've successfully shifted from the vibration of lack to the vibration of fulfillment. Behrend learned from Troward that this shift requires what they called mental equivalence. You must become the mental equivalent of your desire. If you want wealth, you must cultivate the consciousness of wealth before the physical wealth appears. If you want love, you must become love before love arrives. This isn't pretending. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is a genuine internal transformation. The signal is the moment when the transformation is complete. It's when your mental equivalent perfectly matches your desire. And here's the mystical truth. At that exact moment, your desire already exists in the invisible realm. The creative principle has already impressed it upon the universal substance. It is done. The physical manifestation is now just a matter of time, the way a seed becomes a tree. The moment the seed is planted in fertile soil with proper conditions, the tree is guaranteed, even though you can't see it yet. The 3 stages before the signal. Behrend outlined 3 distinct stages that occur before the signal appears. Understanding these stages is crucial because most people give up when they're actually close to the breakthrough. The first stage is conception. This is where desire is born. Something stirs within you, a longing, a dream, a vision of something different. This conception must be clear. Vague desires produce vague results. Behrend didn't desire some money or a trip someday. She desired exactly $20,000 for a specific purpose. Clarity is power. The creative principle responds to definiteness. The second stage is gestation. This is where most people falter. After the initial excitement of a new desire comes the waiting. the invisible work happening beneath the surface. Just as a mother carries a child in her womb for 9 months before birth, a manifestation must gestate in the invisible realm before it appears in the visible. During gestation, doubt creeps in, fear whispers, the logical mind argues. This is normal. This is the testing period. Behrend taught that during gestation, you must maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not constantly thinking about it, but holding a quiet knowing, like a mother who doesn't obsess over her pregnancy, but simply knows the baby is growing. The third stage is conviction. This is the stage immediately before the signal. Conviction isn't hope. It isn't belief. It's knowing. It's when you've done the inner work so thoroughly that doubt has nowhere to land. You're not trying to convince yourself anymore. You're not affirming desperately. You simply know, the way you know your own name. When Behrend reached conviction about her $20,000, she stopped worrying. She stopped checking her bank account obsessively. She stopped strategizing about how it would come. She knew it would come, so she relaxed into that knowing. And that relaxation, that release, that was the signal. How to attune to the signal. Now, the practical question, how do you attune yourself to receive this signal? Behrend provided specific techniques, practices she learned from Troward, and refined through her own experience. The first practice is what she called concentrated visualization with feeling. This isn't daydreaming. Set aside time each day, preferably morning and evening, when the mind is naturally more receptive. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and construct a detailed scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Don't visualize yourself wanting it. Visualize yourself having it, experiencing it, living it. But the crucial element is feeling. Feeling is the secret. Anyone can create mental pictures, but without the feeling, they're powerless. What would you feel if your desire were already real? Would you feel relief, peace, joy, gratitude, freedom? Find that feeling and saturate your visualization with it. Behrend said the feeling is the soul of the image. The image without feeling is like a body without life. It looks right, but nothing happens. The feeling with the image is like breathing life into clay. It becomes animated, alive, creative. The second practice is what Behrend called the Sabbath. After your visualization, you must release it completely. This is the hardest part for most people. They visualize, they feel, and then they immediately start worrying about how it will happen, when it will happen, why it hasn't happened yet. This worry cancels out the creative work. The Sabbath means you trust the creative principle to handle the how. You've planted the seed, now you leave it alone to grow. Constant digging up the seed to check its progress kills it. Trust is the soil in which manifestations grow. The third practice is what she called recognizing the bridge of incidents. The universe has infinite ways to bring your desire to you. It doesn't work through your limited logical thinking. It works through what Neville Goddard later called the bridge of incidents, a series of seemingly natural events that lead to your manifestation. Your job is to be alert, to recognize these incidents when they appear, and to follow them. When Behrend needed $20,000, she didn't just sit and wait. She remained open, receptive, and when opportunities appeared, when people suggested things, when ideas came, she acted on them. The money came through a series of such incidents, each one natural, yet the whole sequence was clearly orchestrated by something greater than chance. The signal appears when you've done all three, visualized with feeling, released with trust, and remained alert to the bridge of incidents. It's a combination of active imagination, passive trust, and responsive action. It's neither purely passive nor purely active. It's a dance with the creative principle, the shadow side of the signal. But I must tell you something Behrend discovered that few teachers mention. There is also a shadow signal, a false signal that can mislead seekers. The false signal is excitement. Many people mistake excited anticipation for the true signal. They visualize something. They feel a rush of excitement and they think, this is it, it's happening. But excitement is often mixed with anxiety. It's the energy of wanting, not having. It's future-focused, not present-focused. The true signal is peace. It's a profound calm. It's the feeling of already being complete. Behrend warned against what she called mental malpractice, using the creative principle while still operating from ego, from greed, from the desire to control or manipulate others. She witnessed people who learned the techniques and tried to use them to harm others, to get revenge, to force someone into a relationship. These attempts always backfired. Why? Because the creative principle is fundamentally benevolent. It's not a cosmic vending machine. It's intelligence itself. When you attempt to use it against the grain of love, harmony, and mutual benefit, you create discord in your own consciousness, and that discord manifests as problems in your life. The true signal only appears when your desire is aligned with your higher self, with your spiritual good, and with the good of all involved. If your desire comes from fear, from lack, from wanting to prove something or get revenge, you may get results, but they'll come with suffering attached. Behrend learned this directly from Troward. The creative principle responds to the spirit in which you approach it. Approach it with love, with gratitude, with the sincere desire to express more of your potential, and it responds with blessings. Approach it with manipulation, with ego, with selfish intent, and it responds with lessons, often painful ones. The legacy of Behrend. Genevieve Behrend went on to study with Thomas Troward for 2 years. She became his only personal student, absorbing not just the theory but the living practice of mental science. After Troward's death in 1916, she dedicated her life to teaching these principles. She wrote Your Invisible Power, a book that remains one of the clearest expositions of manifestation mechanics ever written. She taught thousands of students, traveled extensively, and lived a life of abundance, health, and purpose until her death in 1960. But her greatest legacy isn't her books or her students. It's the proof that the signal is real, that the creative principle is real, that you, as an individualized expression of universal intelligence, have within you the power to shape your reality. Not through force, not through manipulation, not through positive thinking alone, but through understanding and aligning with the fundamental laws of consciousness. Behrend's life was the evidence. A woman with no resources, no connections, no apparent way forward, who decided what she wanted, aligned with it completely, received the signal, and watched reality rearrange itself to match her inner conviction. This isn't reserved for special people. Behrend wasn't born with abilities you don't have. She simply learned the principles, applied them with dedication, and trusted the process. The signal is available to you right now. It's not hidden in some secret teaching. It's not reserved for initiates. It's the natural response of the universe to a consciousness that has aligned itself completely with what it desires. The question is, are you willing to do the inner work to reach that alignment? Are you willing to move beyond wishful thinking into genuine knowing? Are you willing to release your need to control how it happens and trust the creative principle to orchestrate the details? What you seek appears after this signal, after that moment of perfect alignment, after that click when your consciousness and the universal consciousness become one regarding your desire. Genevieve Behrend discovered this, lived this, and proved this. She left you a roadmap. The signal isn't mystical in the sense of being vague or unknowable. It's mystical in the sense of being profound, sacred, and accessible to those who approach it with sincerity. Here's what I want you to take from this. Your desires are not random. They're not punishments or tests from the universe. They're calls from your higher self. Invitations to expand, to express more of your potential, to become more of who you truly are. When you desire something deeply and consistently, it's because that thing already exists for you in potential. Your work is to become the person who has it, to cultivate the consciousness of fulfillment, to maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled until the signal appears. And you'll know the signal when it comes. It's not excitement. It's not hope. It's peace. It's knowing. It's release. It's the moment when you stop trying and start being. It's when the future collapses into the present, when what you wanted becomes what you are. At that moment, the universe has no choice but to reflect back to you what you've become internally. The outer world always mirrors the inner world. Always. Without exception. So go now and practice. Clarify your desire. Visualize it with feeling. Release it with trust. Watch for the bridge of incidents, and above all, cultivate that inner knowing, that conviction, that state of consciousness where your desire is already real. When the signal comes, you'll recognize it, and when you do, know that your manifestation is already done. The physical appearance is just the universe catching up to what you've already claimed in consciousness. Thank you for seeking this knowledge with me. If this resonated, if you felt that signal of recognition while watching, share this video with someone else who's ready for it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And remember, what you seek is seeking you. The signal appears when you stop seeking and start knowing. Until next time, may you align with the creative principle, and may all your desires manifest in perfect timing. The journey continues.